Time to let it rip. Our panel tonight includes multi-talented gospel artist and Grammy winner, now actor in the new movie I Can Do Bad All By Myself, the pastor of Perfecting Church, the Reverend Marvin Winans. Miss Natalie Barting, a woman who spent 16 years as a stripper, but who has now changed her life and her career. Mr. Robert Katzman, an entrepreneur who now owns 6 strip clubs in Canada, Michigan, and New Hampshire. And a man who knows the legal ins and outs of every issue, Fox 2's own attorney, Charlie
Oh, my
Langton.
gosh. Wow.
Oh, we thank you all for being here. And Reverend Winans, let's begin with you. You want new, tougher rules on strip clubs. Why?
Because it is amazing how we have deteriorated a city and the morals of our city. It wouldn't bother me if every one of them shut down. And it's not just from a moral issue. It's from I was brought up in Detroit, born in Detroit, and I'm going to heaven from Detroit. And when I watch what is happening with our young people, not just from I can get in and get out. This rips people of their dignity, of their self-esteem, and most don't escape the vices that surround this. We're not talking about something that folk can just do, typing at a computer or doing something that does not involve them. When you're dancing nude before men, the whole purpose is gratification, and it strips you of your dignity.
When you hear the Reverend speak, are you ashamed of what you do for a living?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm frankly proud of my trade. I'm proud of what I've done. I'm a family man with 2 beautiful children. And respectfully, I know the Reverend and I respect his views, but frankly, they're strictly a religious perspective. And when he talks about dignity, dignity comes from within. And I'm not so sure that he should make that leap, suggesting that entertainers don't have dignity. I don't see it on a first-hand view. Why should someone want to dictate what type of entertainment someone enjoys? For heaven's sakes, some say tomatoes, some say tomatoes. It may not suit Reverend Winans, and I respect him for that, but we have 7,000 to 10,000 people visiting our facilities a day. Are they all bad people? Have they all lost their dignity? I mean, really.
What goes on inside the clubs is not just dancing. There's so much other lewd behavior. There's prostitution, there's drugs.
But you're not saying that every dancer is a prostitute.
No, I'm not saying that every dancer is a prostitute. But the environment there is conducive for you to fall into that. And if your mindset is not strong enough to fight whatever the circumstances are in that club, then you will fall into the same vein that goes on in the club.
Nude dancing is legal in every state in the union.
And you find these clubs everywhere.
And you have an absolute right to take your clothes off in a club. And no council, no court, no one can ban that. So there is an absolute constitutional First Amendment right for nude dancing.
Exactly.
Now, if you want to put some restrictions on that, and that's what we're talking about, the government has to make a showing that you're not going to lose your right to have that freedom to dance. And what we're talking about specifically here is whether or not you can have an ordinance that says that the dancer has to be 6 feet away from the audience, for example.
We have that proposed ordinance right now to look at. Some of the tenets, the patrons must be 6 feet away from the dancers. No physical contact, no lap dancing allowed under the proposed new rules, and all employees, dancers, bartenders, even janitors would have to be licensed. And we understand you also want pasties on the women.
The thing that is most disturbing to me is that since all of these things are so wonderful, since the revenue is there, since the tax, since the regulation is there, how come there is not one in Oakland County? Why is that existing? They did exist before L. Brooks Patterson became the county exec and took over there, and they took the law and shut them down. Detroit is not so special
Are you saying that every strip club is a haven for crime? That there's prostitution and drugs, but every single strip club?
I'm saying that
is it possible that a strip club can exist with no prostitution and no crime and no drugs, and it's just a simple part of
Absolutely.
Is that
No,
possible?
that's not possible.
Oh, you come on, it's
No,
not.
and let me
It's
tell you
not
why.
impossible.
Because the whole genre
Class D
is
entertainment.
set up. Yeah,
Set up around Class D. That's what makes it work.
You know,
the alcohol, the drugs, the lewdness.
my
That's what makes
mother.
it work.
Are you saying that everybody you work with was a prostitute?
Not everybody that I work with was a prostitute, but there was forms of prostitution.
My mother used
There
to
were
say.
different forms of prostitution going on in the club.
Then arrest them.
Well, we had to
Then arrest
solicit.
them.
No, the
Who's
club
gonna be
owners.
that's a crime.
The club owners mandated that we would go out and sell drinks. They would give out drink tickets, so that meant that you had to socialize with their patrons.
But that happens in a lot of bars, though. I mean, a lot of the
Well, it
waitresses
should.
come out.
Well, hold
It
on.
should.
Well, there's
you
plenty
had
of
to
alcohol,
socialize
but
with their patrons
But selling,
and sell drinks of their bar.
selling drinks doesn't mean you have to go to bed with
Well,
the
I
patrons
wanted
either.
to go. If I
There's
wanted to
nothing
be
lewd about
a
drinking a
waitress,
beer.
no, it's not. But if I wanted to be a waitress, I would have been hired in as a waitress. But they took dancing and turned it all into something together, all together different.
Worked at Gentlemen's Club 11 years ago.
11 years ago, and I've been in
okay,
them.
well, let me finish.
I've been in
please.
them
Please,
recently,
me.
too.
Well, then you should be proud.
Recently.
You should be proud.
Yes.
She worked at them 11 years ago. My entertainers absolutely do not sell drinks. They're not. It's against the law.